You're watching Adorama TV.
Hi everybody, welcome to Adorama TV. I'm Mark Wallace. Well, today we're talking about the Canon Image ProGraph IPF 6350, which is this roll printer right here. Now this prints 24-inch rolls as well as normal paper stocks. It's an inkjet printer, and this entire thing, the printer and the stand that comes on with this basket, the one that we have right here, it retails for $2,904. And it is an amazing printer. Now the thing I like about this is that it prints these roll prints, and so you have this big roll of paper that's 24 inches wide by up to 100 feet long, and so you can make some very, very large prints like you see here. Now I printed a bunch of prints. These are only 3 of the prints that we printed, but the nice thing you can see is as this comes through here, you get prints. And so for example, here's this monkey that we printed, and you can see that it is 24 inches wide, and it's actually 3 feet long, but you could make that 6 feet or however long you need to make it. Now the nice thing about this is it has a built-in cutter, and so as paper is coming out of this, it actually cuts that off. There's a razor that comes by there, and so all of your cutting and everything is done right in the printer. Now if you want, you can also print normal paper stocks. So if you have, let's say, a 13 by 19 or 8.5 by 11, something like that, you can open this up and you can put a single sheet in there, and that'll print out just like a normal non-roll printer. And so it's pretty awesome. Now this will accept 2 or 3 inch rolls. So depending on the core, you can print 2 or 3 inches. And on the other side of this printer over here, we actually have a little basket that holds all kinds of accessories. And so some of those are things like the different core sizes. And so those are held in there. And so all those goodies are held right inside the case. Now this prints over either a USB 2.0 cable, if you want to print that right into your computer, or it also prints over network. So it's got a network adapter, so you can have multiple printing stations if you need that. So if you have a large creative team and they all need access to this printer, well, you can just have them all go through the network, and it works just fine. Now this has a resolution of 2400 by 1200 dpi, and so you get some really exceptionally high quality prints. And over here, let me show you these inks. So this has 12 inks, and this uses the Lucia EX pigment inks. So they're pigment inks that are going to last a long time. And the nice thing about these are really large tanks. So I'll just pull one out. Now these tanks are about $75 each, and there's 12 tanks total. The thing I like about this, they have a label on top, and there's a label right here, so those match up, and those slide right in there. But in addition to that, they actually have these little plastic tabs on the bottom of them, and it's different for each ink. And so it's hard to put this in the wrong compartment, which makes it nice if you're working late and you're sort of tired and you need to replace inks, that you don't do something dumb like putting the green in the blue accidentally. So there's some protection there as well. And then close that, and this actually has tubes that come in here, and there's a print head that's hidden right now to keep it nice and clean, but those tubes connect that to that print head. And when you originally buy this, there is some ink that has to be put into those tubes, so it consumes quite a bit of ink on the very first install, so just be aware of that. But the nice thing is it ships with inks just for that. Now this, again, it uses roll or sheet paper, and the Canon rolls, they start at about $75 and go up depending on if you're using glossy or matte or exactly what it is that you're printing. So you can see that for 75 bucks you actually can print quite a bit on these rolls, so it's very economical. Now the thing is, when we got this, I wanted to know how difficult is it to print on a roll printer. And you know, was the color going to match up? How fast was it? Was the resolution good? All of that kind of stuff. And so I initially plugged this into my computer. I had a bunch of files ready to go, both Photoshop files, high resolution JPEG files, etc. And my first experience was I tried to do it the old school way, where I opened up a picture in Photoshop and then just used the print dialog, and I was trying to turn on and off different print color managements, you know, shut off the color management from Photoshop and let the printer handle it, or shut it off from the printer and let Photoshop handle it, and make sure I choose the right color profiles and all the transitions. And the truth is, I wasn't really successful in that first hour or so with the printer. And as you can see here, this is a print that I made. This was actually the very first one. And I had a bunch of white here, and this color was totally off. The flesh tones were wrong. And I had a bunch of extra you know, white on the bottom. And it wasn't at all what I was expecting. And so what I did was, instead of doing it the way I thought I should do it, I went ahead and used the plugin that is provided. So there's a plugin for Adobe Photoshop and Microsoft Office and Digital Photo Professional. And so that plugin, once I use that, it's pretty cool. You just go into Photoshop and you can say export for this printer, and this dialog pops up, and it is just beautiful because it says what size paper would you like to do and exactly what style, is it matte or glossy, and so it matches the roll that you have. And then it's so simple. You just say go for it, and it starts printing. And what I found was that the color matched every single time. It printed very quickly, about 10 minutes, a little bit less for 2 by 3 foot prints. And I just didn't have any issue. In fact, I was able to queue up multiple prints, and so I was able to go in there and say, you know what, I want to print 10 2 by 3 images, and I just built a queue and said go for it, and this printer would just crank them out, cut them off, print out the next one, cut it off, and so we were able to do sort of a factory where we're just cranking out images, which is exactly what you want when you have a printer like this and you're in a creative agency that needs to be printing out things high capacity and quickly and easily, and so that does that. So the other question I had, in addition to is this easy to use, and it is what do the prints look like? And so these are only a few of the prints that we printed here, and so I chose these because I was checking flesh tones on this print, and we did a bunch of other ones. And specifically, did they actually match what I had on my calibrated monitor? And it matched exactly. And so the reds are exactly what I want, and these tones are exactly right. The whites don't have any color bias, which is really nice. And things like this where I have a really saturated image where I've cranked up the reds and the greens, it printed exactly as I asked it to. And then we have this print over here that I actually created for a different printer review, a different Canon printer review, but I wanted to see if it held up. So specifically these areas where we have black transitioning into really, really dark gray, could you see this definition in that print, and how well did things like hair and eyebrows and skin texture and all those really fine details, how well did that hold up? And the answer is it holds up exceptionally well. And so this is actually an upsampled image, and in Photoshop I was able to make this a little bit larger, and I still had the detail that I wanted. And with prints like this, the viewing distance is going to be a few feet, and so from 2 feet it just looks spectacular, and you only see that it was upsampled when you get a few inches away from that, which is what you really, really want. In an image like this, you want to be able to hang it on the wall and have it look spectacular. And it does. So in addition to this, we also printed some things like signs and banners and store in displays and things like that to see if those would look great, and they did. Vector art also looked really sharp. Those curves were just razor sharp. And so overall, this printer did exactly what I would expect a printer of this caliber to do. It enabled me to print very quickly. It enabled us to use it in a group setting where multiple creatives could print through the network to this printer. It enabled us to do it very efficiently at low cost, and it just worked out well. And so I give this very high marks for a printer that would be used in a professional environment. Now this we got, and it had, for $2,904, it has not only the printer, but it came on a stand that can roll around, so you can put this somewhere off into a closet or something if you need to. It comes with this basket for holding onto paper as it prints out so that it just doesn't fall on the floor. It also comes with a bunch of accessories like the adapters for 2 and 3 inch rolls. It comes with 2 print heads. It comes with a maintenance cartridge to make sure things stay clean. It also comes with 12 starter inks to make sure everything can come in there, and a sample roll of paper so you can calibrate the print heads and make sure that you're up and running very quickly, as well as software. So it comes with Canon's Poster Artist Lite software for doing things like printing posters and banners and things like that you might use in a store-end display or on a wall or at an event. And so it's a great deal. So the entire thing, the Canon Image ProGraph IPF 6350, this 24-inch inkjet printer, the entire thing, again, it's $2,904, which is pretty spectacular considering the the size of prints that you can get, comparable to 13 by 19 printers that are about this caliber that range about $800 or $900, maybe even $1,000. So this is quite a deal. So there you have it. Again, the Canon Image ProGraph IPF 6350. I give it super high marks. I really like it, and I can recommend it to you as well. Well, thanks for joining me this week. Remember, if you would like to make a suggestion for some gear for a review here on Adorama TV, you can send your suggestions to me at askmark@adorama.com.
This episode is brought to you by Adorama TV. Visit the Adorama Learning Center where you'll find photography tips and techniques, links to the gear used in this episode, and related videos. For all the latest photography, video, and computer gear, visit adorama.com. And the next time you're in New York City, visit our store located on 18th Street between 5th and 6th Avenue.